Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Yeah,
Hello.
good. So, we didn't meet last week, but you had a chance to kind of on your own, work into Venus a little bit. I'd love to start off by just hearing what you've all come up with this. What do you know of Venus now? Here's
Um,
another. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I looked it up, and it's got a lot of volcanoes, and
Yeah.
and also the atmosphere is very dense. There's a lot of carbon dioxide,
Uh-huh.
and so also there's a lot of I think it was sulfuric acid. So it rains
Yeah.
sulfuric acid,
Right.
and with the atmosphere being very dense, that if a person stood on the crust of Venus, they'll be crushed to death.
Hmm.
And
dissolved.
dissolved, yeah.
Let's explore that just a little bit more, okay? The reason why I want to is because there's two things that you need to integrate into your groundworking. The first one, I had an expression before, and this isn't quite it, but it was which would seem to indicate, you see, or which would seem to mean. You understand? Like it has a lot of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, which would seem to indicate what? How would you fill in that blank? What would that seem to indicate? Because listen to me, this is the way into this kind of work. All right. The principle of as above, so below has to do with something that's called correspondence. Remember, I've got a lemon, I've got an apple, I've got some honey, I've got this particular colored orchid, you see. Are any of those Venus? Are they Venus? No, literally. Is this the literal planet of Venus?
No.
No, right? Because the symbol only ever approximates that which it symbolizes. You see? And so you get these elements and these essences of various things that are attributed to the planet and begin to get on the frequency of it. But whatever you bring in, until it comes, right? Until it actually begins to fill you up with that Venusian sort of frequency, they're just going to be an apple and a lemon and a bunch of honey and, things like that, you see. So you need to make that bridge yourself. You can say there's mostly carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, which would indicate what?
That there's a lot of greenhouse gases.
Huh?
A lot of greenhouse gases.
Well, there you go. Yeah, there you go. Which would seem to indicate that, aside from the sulfuric acid rain, right? The plants would survive there. You see, there's an ecology there for plant life. Yeah, right. The crushing gravity would seem to indicate that whatever atmospheres are generated in that type of environment would be able to hold, right? Would have a holding ability to it, would have an embracing ability to it. See where I'm going with this, or how this is coming about? Without the human to be able to process the raw knowledge in a connective way, then it's just bits and pieces of scattered information.
Yeah.
It's you're the bridge, and this is why this work is included in alchemy, because you're the one doing the alchemical experiment inside you. Yeah, you're taking a bit of you and you're generating Venus in the atmosphere, in yourself, around you. You see. Along those lines, I'm always taught by plants because they all have the same resources available to them. You understand? Like you have a plant. You see, this one happens to be an orchid, very pretty one. And upstairs, I have a pepper plant. Right now, the orchid is in dirt and the pepper plant is in dirt, right? The orchid breathes my atmosphere, breathes my air. So does the pepper plant. I don't get water from a separate tap than I do, for the orchid and for the pepper. And yet somehow or another, the pepper makes peppers out of it. Yeah. And the orchid makes orchids out of it. Now, how does that happen? Don't you find that actually amazing?
Yeah.
I mean, scientists can't do that, right? Yeah. Tell the best chemist in the world, hey, here's some dirt, here's some water. Make me an orchid, please. Right?
Yeah.
Here's some air. Would you please make me an orchid? Can't do it. Yeah. I find that to be a beautiful thing, because what it speaks to is the aspect of life that's able to combine and merge things and create, an orchid will never make a pepper, right? Because it's not inside of its possibility. But can you make Venus in you? You see, because you're the most complex, versatile organic life form on the planet. You can make orchid in you if you want to. Mm-hmm. Did you know that? Did you know, not in a laboratory, mixing things up and stirring up an orchid. But you can actually connect to the essence of orchid and manufacture this in you. This is what's wrong with the world, by the way. Wrong manufacture. It's not evil. It's just, chemical plants, humans, churning out the wrong manufacture.
Yeah.
Huh? What else do you know about Venus? Yeah, right. Why did I draw this pentagram? Do you know?
Warm.
Huh? Warm? Yeah.
Yeah.
Rather sultry in here. Yeah.
The planet Venus, the days are longer than the years.
Ah.
Because
Yeah, because it's whipping around the sun, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Imagine that, right? If you lived on Venus, you would be, people wouldn't say, "Oh, how many years old are you? How many days old are you?" Right? Oh, I'm 4 days and 135 years or something. Yeah. Which means what, Sam?
It gets very warm.
No. Which means what? This would imply, you see, now you get to turn into an alchemical factory to begin to manufacture something in you about Venus. Because
Thinking.
yeah,
Give me a second.
sure.
Yeah, brain's not working yet.
It's all right. Who has a thought? Don't worry about being right or wrong, okay? Because it's actually not being right or being wrong that puts you on the frequency of it. It's the attempt.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the attempt. It didn't matter if I was right or wrong. It didn't matter what was out there. It was the effort put into it. Just like in your alchemy, right? When you have those jars, those mason jars of your various herbs and whatnot, right? You put the effort in. You hold it, you warm it up in your hands, you shake it, you maybe look at it through the light if you can see into it. Those types of things. That's what makes it a tincture and not just cloves floating in alcohol. Not just clove flavored vodka. Yeah. Is it still cloves, Hannah?
Yeah, it is. I've also done rosemary and basil.
What was the third one?
Basil.
Basil, yeah. Yeah, we're quite crass here. We call it basil. Basil sounds like that. Basil. Basil sounds much better. Yeah. Are you with me though?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think? What do you think? Who wants to chime in about this idea that the days are longer than the years? Which would seem to indicate
That it's going round very, very slowly.
Hmm.
It spins very slowly round.
Yeah. Yeah. And
And at the same time, it's going faster around the sun.
yeah, it's whipping around the sun. Yeah.
Yeah.
But rotating very slowly.
Yeah.
In other words, from an external point of view, there would always appear to be a lot of movement, wouldn't there, in something Venusian? But internally, it would be still. What comes to mind is almost like the center of a cyclone, center of a tornado, yeah? Where it's very still on the inside, very fast on the outside. That kind of sounds Venusian to me, which would indicate to me that if you are in a Venusian process, that you're going to have that kind of separation of self from the outside. Still on the inside, active on the outside. Yeah. All right. Good. What else do you know? What else do you know about Venus? Are you finding this process useful? Okay. It's different, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's very, very bright and it can be seen. So I think the Romans called it the morning star and the evening
Right.
star.
Absolutely right. Yeah. If you go out in the east in the morning and look up, you'll see Venus. If you go look west in the evening, right before sunset or just after sunset, you see it there too. It's a very bright star. There's even references in the Bible to it. Yeah, and in Christian theology, Lucifer being one. Yeah? The light bearer, light bringer. If you, instead of conceiving of our solar system as heliocentric, in other words, sitting at the center with planets roving around it, if you instead think of it as Earth-centric, what would that be? Terra-centric, yeah. If you look up at Venus and if you follow its pattern throughout the year, it forms a pentagram in the sky as far as where it's going to be. And so this is one of the reasons why the pentagram has been associated with Venus. What sorts of attitudes would you suppose go with Venus? This is where it gets so hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
Could it be fiery because of the volcanoes?
Did you say fiery?
Fiery, yeah.
Okay, let's start there, right? Because you're right, the element that goes with it is fire. And yet some of the attitudes that go with it are things like joy, yeah, fortune, fortuitousness, abundance, affection, virility, yeah, vitality, those types of things. Yeah. Artistically speaking, what would you say? What kind of features would you expect to see in a work of art that's Venusian oriented? Jagged or flowing? Let's start there.
Flowing.
Flowing is right. Yeah. Even the element of fire is more fluid than I think people realize. You ever watched fire? You know, the way that it kind of dances and that sort of thing. It's not jagged, is it? It's not the way that people like draw, you know, fire isn't like that. It's more of this kind of wave going on sometimes. Like imagine a candle being affected by a breeze. Let's see if I can do this without putting these poor things out. Maybe. Can you get in there and see how they just kind of move, like sort of flicker?
Can't
Huh?
see it that well.
Can't see
Can't
it that
see
way.
it.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, I presume you've seen candles before.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've got the idea. Okay. What sorts of colors would go with Venus? And did you know, by the way, that the colors are going to be different, whether you're talking about the physical versus the astral versus the mental planes? Slightly different. Physical, I'll give you a start to it. Physical would be like saffron.
Yeah.
But in the astral, what color is Venus astrally? Reach out with your senses, please. Get a feel for it. You can do this.
I don't know, light blue or
Yeah, you're right. It's more like turquoise in the astral.
turquoise.
Turquoise, yeah. And in the mental? Reach up. Don't be afraid to be wrong. Say something. Let your faculties do it.
Green?
Blue. Absolutely right. No, not right. Actually, for the mental, it's green. For the level above that, it's blue. So you're on the right track, okay, with blue. But kind of
Yeah,
the
I said green.
realm. Oh, you said green.
I said green, yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. I thought you said blue. Yeah, green. Absolutely right. Good job. Yeah. And then I already gave it away. In its most fundamental, like God-like form is a blue. So you got turquoise, you got green, you got blue. Turquoise is kind of the mixture, isn't it, of those two sorts of things. What else? Musical instruments. What sorts of musical instruments would you expect to go with it? Not songs per se. We'll get to that though.
String instruments.
Stringed instruments. Absolutely. Well done. Like classical guitar. Yeah. If you listen to classical guitar music, that has a very soft, melodic Venusian feel to it, doesn't it? What about natural sounds? What would you think? There's one sound in particular that people tend to run from. Natural sound, I should say, that people tend to run from. That actually presents little or no danger. The humming of bees. Yeah. Have you ever been near a beehive? You just hear that all around it. Yeah. That's a very Venusian sound. What else? Streams of running water, perhaps? Yeah. Are you getting there? Are you getting on the frequency of it? What kind of demeanor goes with it? This should be easy for you because, you know, before you've seen me in my Martian mode, now you're seeing me in my Venusian mode. Yeah. How's my demeanor? Is it different than the Martian mode? Wasn't I like this a lot during the Martian lesson? Yeah, not quite like that. In fact, this might be more Venetian demeanor. How would you describe it?
A lot calmer.
Calmer. Yeah. Caring, gentle.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. No demands. I can think of a couple more stringed instruments that would go with it. Violin, not fiddle. Do you understand the difference between violin and fiddle? You know the word fiddle? Or is it just an American thing? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, sure. Right. Here in America back in the 20s and 10s and 20s, right? 1910s and 1920s. The fiddle, not the violin, but the fiddle was a popular instrument. It's the same instrument. It's just how it's played. The fiddle's like, it's very like, you ever heard The Devil Went Down to Georgia or something like that? That's fiddle music. Yeah. Do you know the song? You can look it up. Okay. Violin music, on the other hand, here's an interesting thing about instruments. Guitar is played from the moving center, isn't it? Solar plexus played from the moving center. Drums played from the moving center area of the body. Right? Violin played from the emotional center, isn't it? Yeah, up here, radiating out of the throat. Trumpet, right? Mental, projecting. Have you ever looked at instruments that way before? So violin, not fiddle, but violin. What about the Celtic harp? That's a really good one. Celtic music in general often touches on a Venusian feeling to it. Makes you want to get up and move, doesn't it? Have you ever heard Celtic music? Yeah, it's got a good feeling about it. Nice, happy feeling about it. What sorts of animals? This one will get funny. All right. I'll get you started off. A cat in its purring mode, okay? Not in its jerky mode. Because cats have a couple modes about them, don't they, right? They can turn on you like that. But when you're just petting a cat and it's right, and it begins to love on you and it'll rub against you and that sort of thing, that would be like Venus. Not when it suddenly like bites you out of nowhere and attacks you and runs away like a little monster, little terrorist, right? in that nice mode. And the reason why people get cats to begin with mode. Yeah. Not the other mode. I mentioned one before. Bees. Yeah. There's an example there, isn't there, where there's so much activity going on the outside, right? Bees are buzzing around, looking for flowers, collecting pollen, transmitting it from place to place, right? And then they come home to the hive where lives the queen. And it's actually quite still by comparison inside, right? They're making honey. They're caring for the queen, you see. Remember that year versus day type of thing? Busy on the outside, busy as a bee on the outside. Still as a beehive on the inside. Rabbits, for their procreative abilities, their procreative vigor and drive. That's another aspect of Venus, isn't it? The whole realm of like sexuality and whatnot. Given human anatomy, the organs that go with Venus are the lymph nodes and the regenerative areas, right? Pelvis, whatnot. Lower back a little bit. How about herbs? What would you say? What would have to be the nature of the herb for it to fit with Venus? Hannah, what do you think?
A delicate taste.
Yeah, something very delicate. You're right. Like what? It wouldn't have a sharp smell, would it? Like cinnamon, for example, wouldn't have that kind of odor to it. Give me a flower, This will be easy because anytime you ask someone, think of the first flower that comes to mind. What is it?
Buttercup.
Buttercup. You're an oddball. Most people say rose. Most people say rose, but yeah, sure. Actually, buttercup would be a good one for that. Yeah. What about hibiscus? Do you know what a hibiscus looks like? They're such beautiful feminine flowers. They really are. Not like a sunflower. Not much feminine about a sunflower, is there? It's all kind of like, I'm a sunflower, right? It's very, I'm looking at the sun. That's what they do. Yeah, hibiscus. They just kind of gently grow and surprise you, and they're huge and beautiful. Yeah, Sam, are you looking up a hibiscus?
Yeah.
Yeah. Strawberries.
Yeah.
Strawberry. Yeah. You know, you can make a tincture with strawberry. Did you know? Easy. Mash it up. Put it in the vodka. Love it for 8 weeks or so. Every day, shake it a little. Strain it out. By the way, Hannah, I'm giving you the rest of the procedure here, okay? Strain it out. See, I work in multiple paths all at the same time. Keep the remnants. Yeah. Calcinate them. In other words, burn them until they're white ash. Put it back in the vodka as is. All the ashes go back into the vodka. Let it sit for a while. Strain it again, you see, so that you get the liquid out of it. And you keep only the things that are non-soluble in there. And that's the part you throw away. The caput mortem. Yeah, the dead head, they call it. That's the part you throw away. If it can't be absorbed and, you know, these minerals, what you're essentially doing is you're extracting the minerals from it, the salts and the, yeah, things like that, right? That you would lose otherwise, the actual essence of the plant itself. So anyway, that's the rest of your process, okay? You understand it? Strain it, burn it, reapply it, strain it again, throw the part that didn't get absorbed away. And now you got your tincture. Other ways you can do it. You can take that, the ash that you've calcinated. You can put it in water, shake it up, and strain it, and then let the water itself evaporate. And what you'll generally get is some crystals. You'll generally get little crystals in the bottom, which are the salts, yeah, that naturally occur in it. There's a couple ways to do it, but okay. Yeah. So yeah, I said what? Strawberries, didn't I? Yeah. Apple. Sweet. Yeah. Not the sour ones, but the sweet ones. Just like strawberries are a little sour, but they mostly have their, if you pick them at the right time, they mostly have a sweetness about them. Lemon for its scent, not its taste, nor its color. Same thing for apple for that matter, but that kind of lemony. You know, in some hospitals, they did an experiment where they would, actually they did it in workplaces too, but they would mist a little bit of lemon scent in the air for people. They could smell it. And it induced kind of a calm alertness in people. In the workplace, work productivity went up while stress went down. You see, because people were in a calmer state of mind to get their work done. And that lemon kind of takes the it takes the edge off. Do you know what I'm talking about? If you're ever stressed, just a little lemon smell. Maybe not the lemon air freshener or whatever. See if you can do it naturally, but yeah. Sam, you know the trick with like orange peels and lemon peels with a flame?
They're flammable?
Yeah, they're kind of weirdly flammable, right? You know how they have pores on the outside, the oranges and lemons and whatnot, they sort of have pores. If you have a peel and you kind of squeeze it by a flame, it goes, right? And yeah, volatile. There's the volatile oils in there. How about a rose? How about a rose? That's probably going with that. Think of the first flower that comes to mind. Buttercup. Well done. Well done. Yeah, rose. Do you see that the things, the things that go with Venus have a kind of a sweetness about them? Yeah, that's what it is. It's it's a sweetness. Subtle though, not like sugar. Here, I mean, this, if you want to get kind of Venusian, you know what this is? Honey. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very Venusian, very sweet. Subtly so, though. Let's talk about the other side. And this is, well, what didn't we talk about? Copper. You probably discovered that in your journey, that copper is the metal that goes with it. You remember? You remember your metals? What goes with Saturn? Who knows? Who remembers?
Lead.
Lead, right. And Jupiter?
Tin.
Tin, you're right. Sol, sun? That's an easy one.
Can't remember.
Gold.
Gold. Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, gold. Yeah. Mars? I'm not going in order here. I'm just thinking what comes to mind, you see. Mars?
Iron?
Iron it is, yeah. I'll give you an easy one. Mercury?
Mercury?
Mercury! Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And Venus, copper. Moon, silver. Curious thing that. How about gemstones? What would you say? An easy one should come to mind based on the colors. You know, humans must have discovered oranges before they discovered pumpkins. Huh? Right. What's this? Orange. Okay. Next. What's this? Oh, shit. Pumpkin. It's also orange. Right? Jumped the gun on that one, didn't they? It's a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, are you feeling it? What gemstone? What gemstone? We have a lot of it here in the United States. Yeah, turquoise. Turquoise. Yeah. The Native Americans here used to, well, still do actually, go to places like Taos, New Mexico, or Santa Fe, or whatever. Lots of turquoise jewelry. Hold on to some of that. And that'll put you in more of a Venusian, Venus sort of frame of reference. Green emerald, I would also say. Is this okay with everyone? Yeah. I just keep kind of like, I know each of these is a bit like drinking out of a fire hose sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, you know, Pierce is going to open up the floodgates of everything to do with Venus today and whatnot. But the reason why I'm doing it isn't so much to fill your head with facts. It's because every time I mention something like green emerald or like turquoise or rose or rabbits or cats in their soft form or violin or whatever, you know, you're building circuits in your brains. And those circuits are going to help you detect Venus when you're around it. Yeah, sweet. Strawberries. Cherries would be another one, wouldn't they? The smell of lemons. You see, all of these kind of references, if you just get the sensation of what each of these kind of feels like, you begin to develop I guess, a lattice work of references for what Venus is like. And so if you're walking down the street someday and you see some flower in the merry, merry month of May or whatever, see some flower, right, on the side, and you wonder to yourself, I wonder what this is. And you don't pick it, please, but you reach down, you smell it, right? You look at it, you observe it. Maybe it's pentagrammic in nature. You sense it with your hands. What kind of radiation? Which finger? A really good way to do this. Which finger tingles, right? When you move it by the flower. Yeah. Those types of things. Then you can go, right, this feels Venusian, or this feels Martian, or this feels whatever the case is. Did you know this about flowers? They generally process planetary influences outside of our planet. What they do is they set up a satellite dish, right? This is the flower, sets up a satellite dish and sucks in only Mars force, or only Venus force, or only Jupiter force, so that the planet can get some of that too. So brothers and sisters saying, here, have a little bit of my food, sis. That's what flowers do. And the reason why some plants are hallucinogenic or sedative, or whatever pharmacological aspects that certain plants have, is generally because a person doesn't have enough of that influence in themselves already. And there's so many stories, right, of these gurus, these masters, these Sufis, or Brahmins, or whatever the case is, where they are pretty much impervious and immune to any kind of drugs or poisons. I'm not recommending you go do this, but you give someone who has that level of development, you give them a deadly nightshade, or a opium, right, poppy, or whatever the case might be, and it won't have any influence on them. It won't affect them the way that it would affect us, either getting high or keeling over. The reason why is because they've already got that. They've already connected to those planets. They've got built up an immunity, if you will, to it, or at least a resistance to those sorts of things. Yeah. That's why plants are here anyway. Not for us, but for the planet. When we use them, it's, I guess, a blessing or a curse, depending on how and why we use them in the ways that we do. All right. So do you understand why I'm taking this approach? I just want you to know. I want you to know the smell of it. I want you to know the sound of it. I want you to know get on the frequency of it. I picked out 4 cards. 5, I'm sorry. 5 cards. All right. That one. Can you see? Sorry. Try and get the, Priestess. Is my camera moving around now? All right.
It is, yes.
Yeah. Let's stop it for a second. Whatever. Who cares? How about this one?
Can't see it.
Can't see it. Okay. Still no?
It's a bit blurry, but
Nymph of ability. Yeah.
right.
Got it.
Yeah.
Card 21. Card 19. I'll just let you look them up. You'll have the video. Okay. Card 6. Life card. Card 20. Resurrection. Just play with these. Each of these has a bit of it. Like I said before, it's not the symbol only approximates the reality. It never is the reality of it. Okay. Well, you feel like you're getting on the frequency. Sort of.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah, it takes a while.
In spring, you get a lot of daffodils, and then later on you get loads of bluebells. It's almost like they have different timings, and they're collecting the energies of different things.
Yeah, you're right. Because of where the planets are at that time, right?
Yeah.
If they shine more brightly in the night sky, or even in the day. You see the plants can see the stars. We can't. You know, if you go down at the bottom of a really deep well, though, you can. In the middle of the day, if you go into a deep abyss, kind of a deep well or whatever, and look up, you can see the stars.
Hmm.
Do you know that? Really
No,
fascinating.
no, I didn't.
And it's because it blocks all the blue out, right? As you get down there, the stars are still visible. We just don't see them because it's all that diffuse blue is getting through our spectrum.
Yeah.
Shall we stand up and go through the exercises? Right. First things first. It's a call down, not an invocation, not an evocation, even more of a call down. Okay. With all of these, what you're doing is you're inviting the essence of it into your aura and into your space. This here, if you can see it, is the symbol. Are you able to see this?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'll trace it with my fingers. It goes like this, kind of like you're starting a Y. You drop down, and then you draw a C with a long tail coming almost all the way up and around again.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the sigil, I should say. The symbol is on the right. Forget the pentagram for a moment, but you've all seen that one, haven't you? Yeah, that's the symbol. That's the sigil. What's the difference again? Do you know between sigils and symbols? Can I put it this way? I'll put it this way. When you see, okay, this is a good way to put it. When you see a stop sign, you're driving down the road and you see a stop sign, all right, that is a symbol. It's a symbol of what you're supposed to do with it. A yield sign is a symbol of what you're supposed to do with it. Green means go, you go. Red means stop, you see? Like these are actions. These are what you're to do with these things. They're not the thing itself. There's nothing about the act of driving and then doing this suddenly that has anything to do with an 8-sided shape that's painted red and white, is there? It's because you've come to associate it with it. A sigil is like a circuit. A sigil will store the energy of the thing itself. Okay, that's the difference. A symbol is an internal representation that you have to associate one thing with the other. A sigil is like an electric circuit. It stores the energy of it. So that is a sigil. That is a symbol. All right, just keep that difference in mind. Draw the sigil. Yeah, go through, draw the sigil. And have this idea of the call down to Venus. Hold that thought in your mind. All right, bow position, roll your shoulders back, up, down, hold tension, and then release suddenly. Good. Okay. The first one is denial. This is the dance move, if you will, okay? Cosmic dance move. Denial. You're going to take your right hand and place it on your left shoulder. I'm going to turn a little bit for you so you can see this. And then it's going to come up and hold out in front of you like the Fool sign on the tarot card, right? The stop. Yeah, so let's do that one again. Okay. Left hand to right shoulder. That. Now the camera's gonna try and follow me again, so. Okay. One more time. Denial. This is what you keep out of your life. This is what you block from your life. Now the left hand comes up in a cup-like fashion, and watch it as it goes up. This is called aspiration. This is what you invite into your life. All right, so let's do it again. Start from bow position. Denial. Aspiration. Active repose. Your right hand is going to come over your left hand. So your right hand is on top of the left. This is called active repose, like you're dead. Yeah. They're in a coffin like this, don't they? But this is different. This is active repose. In other words, silent on the inside, silence in yourself. Okay, from there, you're going to do dedication. At the same time as your left hand comes down and is parallel with the ground. So You're going to do this all at the same time. This hand begins to come down and becomes parallel with the ground, left hand, while the right index finger draws a T or the form of Tau on your forehead, like a cross. Okay, just like that. That's called dedication. This is where you want to call into your life those things that you want more of. With me so far? Let's start from the top. Easiest way to learn it, isn't it? Repetition. Shoulders up, back, down. Hold tension, release. Denial. Aspiration. Active repose. Dedication. And there you're going to go to passive repose. This time your left hand is on top. And from there, you'll go to victory, which also showed up in the last one. What you can't see in this image is that so from here, your right foot will come forward and you look up, head kind of back, and the arms held in that phi position, right? The Greek letter phi. You know the Greek letter phi? It's this. That one. All right. So from there, back to bow. Okay, now I want to go through this again, but I want you to be able to catch all of the sentiments with it. Bow position is when you enter that state of wanting to do a call down, fill your environment with Venus, and think of it in those terms. Denial. Denial is what you prohibit from entering your life. Finish the movement there. Yeah, there you go. Good. And it should be, your forearm should be parallel to the ground, okay? Just like this. So bring it down a little bit more. There you go. Forearm parallel to the ground. That's it. So that's denial. Aspiration, what you wish to call into your life. Okay. Active repose, right over left. Active repose is kind of like a warm embrace. Can you hear me with it over?
Yeah.
I'm covering my mic. Yeah. Active repose. It's almost actually as if you bring from this position, you bring that in to yourself. All right, those intentions of what you wish to hold on to. Dedication. Passive repose. Left over right. And back to bow. Easy enough, isn't it? Is it difficult or is it okay? Is it easy enough?
It's easy enough.
Easy enough, isn't it? Oh, what did I do? I forgot phi, didn't I, at the end? Didn't I? Did we go through it all? Let's do it one more time, okay? Okay, bow position. Denial. Aspiration. Active repose. Dedication. Passive repose. Good. Yeah, left over right, you got it. And then victory. And back to bow. Wonderful. Not so hard. I think you're getting used to these movements, aren't you?
Yeah.
Are you able to find the time to practice them? Or is it kind of like this week and then sort of forget it? It's okay if it's past and forgotten. We can always come back to the videos. Just keep in mind that these are all just little tools. Okay,
Yeah.
Thinking about the different flowers or the different animals or the minerals or the gems, doing the movements, looking up at Venus in the morning or the evening. They're just tools. They're just tools to get you on the frequency of it. All right. So it's not a lot of pressure. I would rather, you know what I'd like? I'd like it if you all got to the point where you completely forgot the specifics of the movements. And I say, Enzi, do a call down for soul for me, right? And you spontaneously were able to go through it not necessarily the movements that I showed you, but something that moved you from soul at that point. What that would tell me and what that would mean to me is that now you've got the essence of it in your aura. Yeah, so there will be an Enzi soul movement. There will be a Hana and a Mark, yeah, and a Sam soul movement, or Martian movements, you see, those types of things. Okay, these are specific, right? They were developed, gosh, I would guess thousands of years ago in some cases, specific movements for this thing. But someone had to figure it out, didn't they?
Yeah.
You're practicing some, some bloke's version of soul or version of Venus, yeah, from 2,000 years ago. Especially this one. This one comes from ancient Sumeria. Yeah, Sumer. That one does. You'll see it in there. Some of their poses to do with Venus. Enzi, what?
Does it make sense that it's harder to get into the frequency of certain planets?
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's
different for everyone. Or, I don't know.
Yeah, that's because of your own peculiar astrology.
Okay.
When you were kind of being manufactured in the womb, just like flowers at certain times of year, right, or different plants at certain times of year, have a starry influence on you as you're being formed, and that's what generates your astrology, your unique astrology, along with what's happening in the world when you take your first breath. That's an important one. Yeah. I mean, I'll put it this way. I was born in 1972. Do you know what major events were going on in 1972? Major world events, Vietnam War.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So you would expect people born in 1972 to have to hold a bit of that karma with them, if you will, if you really know what I mean by karma. Because every human's responsible for every other human's actions on this planet. We all do it, don't we? Yeah, so breathe in some of that karma of the Vietnam War and also the atrocities that happened during it. Right? So yes, to answer your question, Enzi, it's different for each person. Besides, I will say this, right? If you follow astrology, you must have realized that the planets are no longer in the same positions as they were 4,000, 6,000 years ago when astrology was made. Yeah. So someone who's supposedly in Aries, like myself, is no longer in Aries. Pisces, more like, because the planets are where Pisces would have been 6,000 years ago, not where Aries was. So if you want to get into astrology, I would say, generally speaking, don't worry so much about the 6,000-year-old version of it, of like, you were born in April, so you're early April, so you're an Aries, for example, or early December, you're a Sagittarius, for example. That's not really true. Figure out where the stars are now and which ones would have an influence on you. They call it sidereal. Sidereal. Yeah. It's going to give you better indications. All right.
Is it that one that has like another sign?
Huh?
Is it that one that has another sign?
Yeah,
like an additional sign.
Yeah, for example, it's not so much being on the cusp of one thing or another, but the stars were in a certain position 6,000 years ago, and because of our precession and various other factors, actually, they're no longer there, right? So April 3rd, which is my date of birth, April 3rd, isn't Aries anymore. It's Pisces. If you want to be true to the actual influences that were coming in during my manufacture, I'm a Pisces, not an Aries. Yeah. The problem is, I think, and I'll get on a soapbox for a minute and then I'll jump back off of it, but the problem is that because people don't use detection anymore, they don't go and actually wonder what does the radiation of this plant feel like? You know, what does it smell like? What they don't use their faculties anymore. They just read books on what other people said they are. Yeah. You know, oh, I'm an Aries and therefore I must be an Aries, right? What does it mean? It's not true. Yeah. If you invigorate your faculties, if you get into this art of detection, you would already know this, wouldn't you? You would know that you're not whatever your signs say you're supposed to be. All right, shall we wrap up?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Thank you all for joining me.
Mm.
Yeah, look forward to seeing you next week. All right.
Okay.
Thank you all very much. Yeah, have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll see you soon.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay,
See
bye-bye.
you.
Tell Mark.